Welcome to the Rock the Stage Show. Each week, international media expert Rich Bontrager has in-depth and personal conversations with celebrities, top leaders, authors, speakers, and media professionals. Now, from the Rock the Stage studios, here's your host, the Trigger, Rich Bontrager.
Welcome once again, Rock the Stage Show, Sunday night, 7 p.m., and we are bringing the best of the best, always, to dive into great conversations, great discussions. And tonight, we're going to get into another leadership conversation. But I'm going to ask you, I found over the many years, I've talked to many leaders, and there's a common cry, a pain point that many leaders have, and the cry is to make better decisions. Leaders are out there leading the forefront, and afterwards they're going, oops, swing and a miss, and they want to make better and better decisions, but they don't know how to do it. And the other thing I found out is then they have the setbacks, and then they have the other pains and the obstacles when teams begin to argue. The other cry that often forms out of all this is that we're moving too slow. We've got to move faster. We've got to move faster, but often leads to more tragedies, more accidents, and bad decisions. Tonight, we're going to unravel some of that. We're going to get into better decision, moving faster, and strategy. We have a great guest lined up for tonight, so you want to sit back and enjoy this one and probably take some good notes as well. Mary Kelly, Dr. Mary Kelly improves the profit growth and productivity, and she is sharing her vault of free resources tonight. I guarantee you stay all the way through, you're going to get some free resources to help you out. She's going to dive into personal growth, professional growth. Please welcome to Rock the Stage Show, author, Hall of Fame speaker, former naval commander, that's a first for the show, Dr. Mary Kelly. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much. Happy Sunday night, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this conversation about how we can be even better leaders.
Now, you have been in this area for a long time. I might go back to your naval career, first of all, because what did you learn about leadership that helps you from the naval career to the business sector? Because they're two different worlds, but I'm sure you probably learned something.
People are always amazed that the things we learn in the military are very applicable to the business and corporate and nonprofit world. For example, in the military, people think we're all kind of robotic and automatrons, and we just do what we're told and we don't question things. We question a lot. Wait, why are we doing this? Are we doing this the right way? Is there a better way of doing this? Are we helping our people? Are we doing the right thing at the right time? Is this the best way to execute this particular thing? And you have to move fast. So we are used to dealing in crises and challenges and changes, and that's what's facing a lot of businesses today. So these decision-making abilities and the ability to look at a situation and kind of go, all right, I may not like the situation, but I need to figure out a plan to move forward. That's what our business leaders are facing right now.
Now, you were in intelligence and logistics, right?
Yes.
That was the main area.
Yes, I started out hunting Russian submarines and then looking for Chinese submarines and then the Republican Guard. And then I met my Marine Corps husband. We were both hunting down the same terrorists, fun things like that, what everybody does. And then, and I transitioned from there as you get more senior. Okay, first big secret, as you get more senior, the jobs get better. Now, the fun is different. Like you can't do the stupid stuff when you were young, when you were younger, but the jobs get better. And I transitioned into more of the leadership role, running bases like Pearl Harbor and being the HR director for a couple thousand people from Oklahoma to the Middle East. And then being a chief of police, fun. And then having command, the fun, you get more experience, you get better jobs in the military. And this is where I think a lot of people don't understand is you get great leadership opportunities really early on in the military. You get to make all the stupid mistakes, if you're lucky, early. My daddy told me, my daddy grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and he says, Mary, you're not going to live long enough to make all your own mistakes. So you got to learn from the mistakes of other people.
I love that. That's great advice from Dad.
Yeah, Dad was awesome.
Now, I'm here in Washington, D.C. area. I love going to Annapolis. It's absolutely a beautiful city. I've gone to the academy several times, but is it correct that you were instructor at the academy for a while?
I graduated from the Naval Academy. This is my Navy mug right here.
Yes.
I graduated in 1987. I came back and taught from 2004 to 2008. I arrived full circle. When I first showed up there, I had a little backpack with like a change of clothes and a book. And when I went back there, 20 years later, I had, a couple bags and a couple books. And that was a wonderful opportunity to go full circle. So we've got a couple other grads in my family. None of us had ever met anybody in the military.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But my older brother was 2 years ahead of me, and he went there. And when he went there, I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. My whole military experience was watching MASH. I mean, that was it. I knew.
Here we go. We have that in common.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know anybody in the military, anybody who'd ever been in the military, like nothing. So he goes off and does this. And then I went up there to visit, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And people had a purpose. And I really liked that people had a purpose. And I was visiting other college campuses, great colleges, but people were kind of wandering around, kind of lackadaisical, wasting a lot of time, drove me nuts.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if I can get into one of the academies, that would be great. So my older brother, fun fact, married another 85 grad. I'm 87. My younger sister, the Air Force one in the family, she married an 88 grad out of Navy. My younger brother was like, all right, this can't be all bad. He's class of 94. And I know, I've been widowed a couple times and cancer both times. And I just married a guy from the class of 85, like 5 months ago. Like, so crazy.
You just can't get out of it, can you?
I can't, you can't get out of it. So it's kind of funny because at the Naval Academy, and some of your listeners know this, at the end of your junior year, there's this very big deal called ring dance, where you get your Naval Academy ring, and they present it and they dip it in the waters of the 7 seas. It's this great tradition. And the guy I just married, he was actually my date to that. Way back 40 years ago.
No way.
Crazy.
What comes around?
What comes around. So, you think decisions you make early on in your life are not going to matter, and then they do.
Now, again, it's a beautiful place to be. What did it personally mean to you to go back and teach there? Because there is a mystique about that. The guys in uniform are walking around. It is prestigious. But what did it really mean to you?
So I was nauseous. You first come back and you're thinking about what it was like to be a midshipman there. And, you still get a little nauseous every time you drive through the gate. You think you're going to be in trouble. And, you still have the nightmares where you're running for your chemistry exam and you can't find your uniform and you can't find your calculator and you can't find your cover and you're running down Stribling Walk. And, you still have these nightmares of, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be taking an exam and I haven't been to class all semester. The same nightmares everybody has, right? And then you come back and you're supposed to be one of the grown-ups. And all of a sudden you go, oh, I'm one of those people. When I was a midshipman, I thought, wow, are those people old? And it was kind of nice. So what's great now is my students from then are now the people who have gone back to school. And now they're the instructors. And you get to have this legacy. And, I think in business, sometimes we don't consider the legacy option as much. You don't think succession planning as generations. In the military, a generation is 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
And in the corporate world, it can be an entire family generation. So it can be 40 or 50 years. You have to look at where when you think about a generation in business, what's a generation to your business? Is it a term for an executive director? Is it a presidency? Is a CEO term? What does that look like in business? And for the military, a generation is just 10 or 15 years. And I look at people now and people ask me military questions. I'm like, I've been retired since 2008. I'm a dinosaur, because that's 15, 16 years ago.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
A dinosaur.
But the stuff you must have encountered right out of Tom Clancy novels, you must have really encountered that stuff yourself, I'm sure.
A few things. A few things. I'll tell you, I miss the Cold War, Rich, and here's why. Mm-hmm. There was a sense of professionalism and a certain sense of respect. You pretty much either fell under Mother Russia or Uncle Sam. You were aligned with one of those back in the Cold War. Yeah. And everybody kind of knew what the playing field was. We knew the rules. And now there's a lot of rogue nations. There's a lot of of military groups that don't have nation states. They are operating independently, and frankly, it's more dangerous. So yes, the Cold War was a scary time for certain reasons, but now there's uncertainties because of everything else. And if you follow the geopolitical side, because I still do, the military is like Hotel California. You can check out, but you never leave.
You're never out.
You get out of it. And you're still part of the Military Officers Association and the VFW and the Alumni Association and all of that. And I'm still very closely aligned with a lot of veterans groups. And we do try to kind of get the word out for businesses. Hey, hire veterans. We're not crazy people living under bridges, which is what a lot of people were portrayed at after Vietnam. These are people who understand mission, vision, goals. They understand how to get things done. Are we all angels? Oh, no. Oh, no, we are not. We are not all angels. No way. But look around your organization and wonder if maybe a little shot of some military might help your organization get things done.
So before we transition into the business world, well, we're going to spend a lot of time here tonight. I do want to go back. I read a phrase that you love being in the Hall of Fame of speakers. You love it. Now, as a fellow NSAer, fellow onstage speaker, I know Hall of Famers. We've had many Hall of Famers on there, but you said it. You really, really love it. Why do you love it?
Because it's a group of your peers who kind of give you the thumbs up. And we as peers, nobody judges you more harshly than your peers. When I show up in front of a military audience, I expect to be judged harsh because they know what I know and I know what they know, and I better deliver, And it's kind of the same thing in the Hall of Fame speakers. They're sitting there going, all right, what do you got? What do you got? And so the fact that this group of amazing people thought it was okay to extend the invitation for me to sit at the big kids table at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And I got inducted back in 2020 when our conference was virtual. So I got to deliver my acceptance speech actually with a glass of champagne in my hand.
There you go. That doesn't happen too often.
It doesn't. It never happens. So people were saying, "Oh, that's so sad that you didn't get to be on the big stage." And I was like, "I'm good. Like I got to sit in my studio with my glass of champagne, and I was just so honored to be invited to the table." And then I went on to become the chair of that council for a while, and that was a huge honor as well because you get to know people even better. But more importantly, you get to serve. And really, that's what leadership is about, is the opportunity to get in there and serve and see things in a different way and figure out solutions. And for some things, as a leader, it's easier for us to do certain things. It's harder for other things, but as a leader, some things are easier for you. So that to me was just a huge honor to be both inducted and then to serve that council.
That's two amazing fraternities to be a part of, the Navy and the Hall of Fame speakers. Those are special elite crowds you're in.
It's an amazing club to be part of, both the military, our NSA family. Yeah. And let's face it, everybody's looking for belonging. Everybody is looking for that family outside of your own family. You're looking to be accepted and respected and valued. And some people get it at work. And I'm really fortunate that I've had that at work because of what we get to do.
So let's turn the corner and get into the business world here, because in the military, I'm sure you're dealt with stress, and business owners, leaders, top tier leaders are dealing with stress at a whole different level right now. What's the first thing you want to tell leaders about the world of stress and how to deal with it?
So some of my executives, so I do some executive coaching. Executive coaching is all levels. It's not always the top tier. Sometimes it's the middle. Sometimes it's the folks who are just coming in and they're like, this is great potential. You need to help with this. So they get real excited. I'm like, hang on, did anybody die today? And they're like, well, no. I'm like, okay, then this is all manageable. And they're like, but I'm like, it's still important, but nobody's actually dead. So having said that, let's frame this properly. Now we just need to make a series of correct decisions that's going to help us move forward. So let's look at the situation. I'm always like, what's the best option out of this situation? This. Okay. What's the absolute worst that could come out of this? Here's this. All right. So here's the big secret. Even the very worst is something you can probably live with. And it's not going to be the very worst. It's going to be something in the middle. It's not maybe going to be the best, but it's probably not going to be the worst either. And our brains are hardwired to go to the worst. We think, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And uncertainty plays a huge factor in that. And let's face it, Rich, the world is an uncertain place.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the geopolitical issues, look at the economic issues. Look, I could talk for days about the economic issues as well. Let's look at domestic issues. Let's look at workplace issues. There's a lot of uncertainty. And what I tell my leaders also is, you can look at the big world issues and then let's look at your workplace issues. But keep in mind, if your people are having a personal crisis, they don't care about your workplace issues. They don't care about the geopolitical issues. They don't care about the fact that Russia is still in Ukraine and the Middle East is still a crazy place. I mean, They don't care. If they got a diagnosis, that's what they're focused on. If their kid went to the emergency room overnight, that's what they care about. If they had a flat tire on the way into work this morning, that's what they care about. Their personal crises are trumping your workplace issues and the geopolitical issues. So we have to lead the way they need to be led in that moment. And, there's a lot of conversation about, oh, how do I lead boomers? How do I lead millennials? How do I lead, Gen Zers? And one of my Army generals told me, he said, Mary, you don't lead demographics. You don't lead Army people. You don't lead Navy people. You don't lead men. You don't lead women. You lead individuals. And I just thought that was the best.
Ooh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Everyone put a pin in that right now. You lead individuals, not
demographics.
Label and brand.
No, you lead individuals and you lead in a way that works for them in that moment. So what sometimes people need, and I would ask my students this, I got to teach at the Air Force Academy too. I was a civilian when I taught at the Air Force Academy. And sometimes cadets would come in my office and say, I need advice. I'm like, okay, what's the situation? I'd listen and I'd go, okay, so I don't know you that well. Maybe it's only still September and we haven't gotten to know each other that well. So do you need the mom talk where I say, there, it's going to be okay? Do you need the Navy commander talk, which is I'm going to kick you in the butt and tell you to get off your butt and stop whining and get to work? Do you need the professor answer that is now? Here's what's probably going to happen. So very systematic, like which piece of advice do you need? And they would think about it and they're like, maybe I need the Navy commander kick in the butt today. I'm like, okay, all right. So keep in mind those other options are available. I'll tell you, you can do this. They're there. Also, systematically, this is going to be in place. But here, this is what you need to do right now and stop whining. So sometimes people know what they need. Sometimes they don't. And sometimes they're like, maybe all three. I don't know. What do you think I need? I don't know. So sometimes you got to give people the options of which leadership style they need in the moment.
Door 1, door 2, door 3, and boom. Now, in keynoting, you do talk about strategy, better decisions, and faster results, which I teased up earlier. I'm really interested in the better decisions. Why are we making bad decisions, and what does it mean to make a better decision? Because I've heard it, like I said, from so many different people, and they're like, I did this, and it went bang, splash, boom. How do you make better decisions, and why are we not making good ones now?
A lot of leaders, and that's such a good question. A lot of leaders during COVID made zero decision because they were so afraid of making the wrong decision that they made zero decision. So we're all familiar with the idea of, fight or flight. When faced with a challenge, fight it or flee it. But there's also freezing and fawning. Freezing is you're deer in the headlights. You do nothing. You just stand there and look at that car that's coming at you.
And we got a lot of that going on right now. We are so open everywhere.
So much. People are so fearful of making the wrong decision that they're making no decision. The fawning is they think, oh, if I make a popular decision, if I placate my loudest complainers, then somehow the problem's going to go away. Here to tell you, that's not how it works. That is not what happens. You placate your biggest whiners. That's a worse decision. Now, keep in mind, there's two different kinds of complainers in the workplace. There are complainers who complain because they love to complain and they will complain about anything. If if the good Lord was your boss, they would complain about that too. There's just no pleasing these people. But then you've got people who complain because they want to make things better. Those are the people you listen to. And if you can hire those people, they will point things out that you really need to hear, especially when you don't want to hear it. And you got to listen to those people. But here's where people in leadership go wrong. They fail to take good decisions. They make decisions because they want to be popular and not because it's good for the organization. They want to feel good themselves and they want to go home going, I made people happy today. Yeah. Okay, if you're in the job because you want to be Miss Congeniality, you probably need to find a different job. You need a different role. You may stay at the same company, but if you're in a leadership decision place and you're making decisions because you personally want to feel good about yourself and be popular, these are easy decisions that will make things hard in the long run. What I want in my organization is I want somebody who's going to make hard decisions that are going to make things easy in the long run. And that's the difference. We have to make hard decisions now. And that might mean firing people. It might mean repositioning people. It might mean redistributing resources and budgets. And people are going to complain. And you have to be willing to make some people unhappy because it's a good business decision. And if you're not willing to make some people unhappy, you're never going to make everybody happy, including yourself.
So are we mistraining leaders as we develop them? Are we not teaching them how to be risk takers and decision makers?
Correct. We are teaching people to be risk averse, which is very dangerous. Yep. And we are teaching people to make no decision is better than taking any decision. A Navy ship in the middle of the ocean, you got to pick it. You got to pick a direction. You got to go some direction. Yeah. You can tweak it later, but you got to go in some direction. Otherwise you're floundering. And a lot of people I see floundering right now, Rich. And it's sad to see because they're running themselves ragged, doing day-to-day things that are keeping them busy, but they're not being effective.
That's a great term because we are staying active. I'm very busy. My calendar is filled up. And then they go, but I'm not going to decide anything today. We'll talk about it next week. Yeah. So they're filling the void with busyness, but they're not moving the line any. And they think they're succeeding.
Right. And one of the questions I love to ask, I tell my leaders, hang on. These are your top people. Yes. If they can't handle difficult conversations, you need a different team. Or maybe you need a different approach. And maybe the approach, and let's start here, is trusting your people to deal with tough things. People can handle tough situations. The average age on board one of my aircraft carriers, and they're all still mine. They're all mine. The average age is 19 and a half years old. Wow. And we ask these people to do tough things, and they can do it because, frankly, we expect it. We expect people to do hard things. People can do hard things. Give them the opportunity to step up to the plate. Oh no, but we don't want to put this on them. We don't want to. It's their job. Yes. And if you continue to not expect people to rise to your expectation, they're not going to do it. So let people have the opportunity to do what's tough.
Well, now let's go to the faster side. Now, when I ran teams and companies, I was a visionary leader. I was dubbed that by other people, and they were right. And then I was a fast-moving guy. If I saw something, I knew the target. If I knew where we wanted to get to, I would say, jump on the bandwagon, let's go. And I want you to do this, this, and this. Some people love the fast-moving. And some people were like freaked out, be like, we haven't asked that question. We haven't answered that question. We haven't budgeted for that yet. But you want us to move. Why is speed such a problem for people?
3 reasons. First, and the first one, and this is where I have a resource for your group tonight.
Aha.
You are a competitor. A competitor moves fast. They make fast decisions. They can see what needs to be done. In order to get along with you well, people show up. They show up early. They cross things off your list. They take things off your plate. They get things done. Yep. Now, that is one leadership style. There are 4 main ones in the assessment that I have. You're a competitor. The acronym is CAMP: competitors, analyzers, motivators, peacemakers. And then there's 4 other combinations. So really there's 8, but we focus on the 4. If you're an analyzer, it is your nature to ask questions and to know as much of the detail as possible before moving forward. These people will make you crazy. They make you crazy because they go, well, what about this? And what happens there? Where's the budget? And how are we going to do this? And is this going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday? And if we do it on Wednesdays, then we're going to have to reschedule the Wednesday things. And then that's going to be on Thursday. And then we've got to figure out how Mike and Sally and Tom are all going to fit into this. And you're going, look, we're going to move forward, like figure it out and make it happen. They're like, well, I'm not really sure how we're supposed to make that happen. Do we have a resource for this? Do you have a budget? Do we need a committee? Is there going to be a meeting? And these people make you insane. And meanwhile, the peacemakers are like, okay, now let's figure out a win-win for everybody. And the motivators are like, yes, a new idea. Let's move forward. I have no idea what direction I'm going in because I'm thin on the details, but I am excited about it. Okay. So these are the 4 leadership styles. None are better than the other. They're all different. And in their resource link I'm sharing with your folks, people can take their own. It's totally free. And they can figure out what style they are. What we need to remember is our style is not the same as other people.
Yes.
And in an accelerated rate of change, the competitors are like, yeah, let's do this. The motivators are like, not sure where we're going, but we're excited about the ride. The analyzers are nervously holding back because they're not sure which train they want to get on. Now, these are people who are great at number crunching. They are great at figuring out the minutia. They are great at putting the plans together. These are the people you trust to do those things. And then there's the peacemakers who are reliable. They get the things done. Once you tell them where to go, they make the things happen. They will be the ones who say, which are your top priorities? Tell me which direction. They are great friends. They are loyal. So there's a place for everybody. Everybody's got a place in the choir. We need them all. But to lead change, we have to understand not everybody works like us. Not everybody embraces the change. And for the competitors of the world, the habenula, that part of our brain that manages change, accepts the change really quickly. For everybody else, it takes a little longer. We just have to accept that. But then once people make the decision, and here's what's helpful. This is number 2. Once people make the decision to make the change, all of a sudden things get suddenly easier. It's like if you decide you're going to go to the gym. All right, you don't want to go to the gym. Nobody wants to go to the gym, but you lay your clothes out and then you think, am I going to go to the gym? See, thinking about going to the gym, we're back to that gym metaphor. See, that puts you in a state of uncertainty. That's not good. But if you wake up in the morning, you slept in your gym clothes, the shoes are by the bed, and there's no decision because you're just grabbing your keys and heading out the door, then there's no decision to be made. You feel fine because you're not having to make a decision. See, the uncertainty of the decision is the problem. And then you get to the gym and you do what you're supposed to do because you're already at the gym. There's no decision. Of course, you're going to do your workout. So for many people, it's the uncertainty of the decision that is difficult. And the habenula will hang on to that uncertainty until you go, no, we're going to the gym. Click. You turn the switch. And then it goes, okay. So again, we have to trust our brain to switch once we make that decision. But the third reason why people are struggling with the accelerated pace of change is because there's more to know. And right now, CEOs are being fired and resigning at a faster pace because of 3 reasons. They're not handling the pace of change that is revolving around financials, the people side, and regulatory issues. There's just more to know. So when you think about that, there's simply more to know. There's more variables. People say leadership now is harder than it's ever been. Yeah, it is, because there's more variables. So those are the 3 reasons that I'm seeing right now in the workplace.
It's interesting to look at leadership dynamics and how you build a team. And that's one thing I don't think people talk about a lot is the strategy of building a balanced team. We know we need to build a team, but we don't intentionally say, I need this person and that type of person. I need that. We say we need a team, and then we accidentally have one. Speak to that intentionality, can you?
Oh, certainly. So when I left the military, the first person I hired had a tech background in a way I did not. I built my first website. Terrible idea. She had a tech background, super organized, wildly dedicated, super reliable. She is one of those peacemakers of the world. And I hired her because she is not me. And now that was 2008. How many years later, she's still with me. Thank goodness for her. She's now my business manager. She's fabulous. If she ever decides to retire, I'm just going to close up shop because I'm done. She's amazing. And people like her. She's just, she's reliable and kind and sweet, and just, she's that peacemaker. She's fantastic. And then I hire the analyzers, the people who ask the questions. And I got to tell you, I've got one on my team right now, and she drives me crazy. And she drives me crazy because she'll go, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? I'm like, I have no answers for you. I don't know. I'm like, so I need you to go through those questions again. I need us to discuss them together. And I'm going to give you the best guidance I have. And then I need you to run that down. And when you hit a brick wall, come back to me and ask me another question, because I don't know the answers. And I need you to figure this out and let me help you go down the right path, I hope. But she asks the questions that make me insane.
Yeah.
And I need her because I don't know what she knows. And I need to give her good. And this is where we sometimes as leaders fail, is we have to give people guidance in an area that allows them to maximize their skill set. So by us as leaders having the variety of leadership styles on our team, it allows us to think of the things that we didn't think of. It allows other people to say, hey, I don't understand this, or wait, what do you mean? Or I need more words on that's one of the things I tell people. I said, with me, sometimes you have to say, Mary, go use more words. I know I use a lot of words, but go use some more words. And then give me a summary. And so sometimes I'll be talking it through. I go, okay, I think to sum up this. And they're like, got it. Because saying the words is not the same as thinking the words. And sometimes we expect people to get inside our brain and know what we're thinking.
Now, before we run out of time here, I do want to jump on, because besides all the amazing things you're involved with, you also have a cause, a passion project that you're involved with, the Dallas Street Dog Advocate. You're a dog lover.
I am a dog lover, cat lover, horses, turtles, gerbils, parrots, ferrets, hedgehogs, whatever you have. I love pets. And one of my high school friends, her name is Elise Tidwell Bissell. She came home one day and said to her spouse, I think I just want to save all the dogs. And he was like, okay, honey. I can't even imagine how that conversation went. I may have made that up in my head a little bit, but she started this great organization. Everybody's a volunteer. They rely on fosters. It's dsda.org. And when possible, what I do, I love animals. I was the Air Force Academy and the Naval Academy's equestrian team coach, even though I ride. I'm deathly allergic to animals. I mean, if you've got a small kitten, like a brand new little baby, like 6-week-old kitten, that thing can take me out with a butter knife because I'm going to be sneezing badly. Oh, I'm deathly allergic to them. It's the curse of my life. I wanted to be a vet. So what I do instead is I raise money for great animal shelters. And there are many great animal shelters out there. This is just my favorite because Elise does such a great job really doing the boots on the ground work. When I was a chief of police, I would tell my people, if you find a dog that is way too skinny and tied up on a chain and with no water, I guarantee you there's something very wrong going on in that house. The dogs really are the canary in the coal mine, and we're gonna investigate that. And she gets in there and she does the boots on the ground work. God love her. So when I sell my books, back of the room stuff or anything like that, I just tell the meeting planner, just take all the money and collect it and send it right to DSDA because, and that way I don't have to deal with sales tax or profit, and any of that. I'm like, just look, if I bring 100 books in and we sell 100 books at $20 a book, boom, that's a good fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, and you know this, if I go to a different town and it's Vegas and they say, hey, we've got a Vegas shelter here, I'm like, then let's make all the book sales about that. Or let's make all the book sales about whatever your cause is. So for all my events, I just love to donate books for sale. And then they go to some great cause. And it just, causes we care about get funded. People feel good about it. Somebody's on the fence. They're like, I don't know, is this book by Mary Kelly really worth $20? And somebody goes, who cares? It's going to the dogs anyway. Everything's going to the dogs.
That's a great slogan. My books go to the dogs.
My book, everything's gone to the dogs. I have a hat that says sleeps with dogs. My husband loves
By the way, Mary's got 15 different books at last count. Do you have another one in the works, Mary?
I do. I just came out with Stop Procrastinating Tomorrow. That's a great one because we all procrastinate. It's Kindle. It's on Kindle right now. You don't need a Kindle to read it for 99 cents. So if you grab it and you want to send me an email, I'll send you a link to the free resources. If you buy the actual paperback, it's a whopping $7.99, I think. I needed a book that people could get through quickly and get resources. So stop procrastinating tomorrow. Let's get the things done. And then my 2025 book that I have a copy in my hand as of Monday of last week, the 18th. It is called You Next, a step-by-step guide to taking charge of your career. This is the book you wish you had at 25. This is the book you're going to get for your 30-year-old kid. This is the book that you're 32 years old. You're trying to have it all. You're trying to figure out your life. This is the book, You Next.
You are a prolific writer, and I still don't have my first one done. But I've got 3 in my head, but I don't have them done.
I'm always working on the next manuscript. And so for me, it's a way to get all the thoughts out of my head and into a place where I can share them. I started writing Stop Procrastinating Tomorrow during COVID when people were just freezing. They were the deer in the headlights, not doing anything. So I wrote it during COVID, the bulk of it. And then during COVID, people were not ready for that message of, hey, let's get things done. Yeah. And in 2024, they're ready for the message, let's get things done. So this has done very well. Thankfully, so grateful of Stop Procrastinating Tomorrow has done well. And it's an easy read. You can sit down and read it in an afternoon on a plane. And then you go, you know what? I can do this. And I get the fun thing about writing books, and this is why you've got to get your book out, Rich, is people will send you mail, which is just the greatest thing ever. Like people think, wait, you actually get mail? Yeah. Somebody goes, because of you, I was like, you're right. I need to plan my vacation. I need to have the baby. I need to get a puppy. And you're just like, this is so great. Just take the action. It makes me so happy. So I love hearing from people. It's the best.
Well, here is your free gift offer stuff. Hit the QR code. And Mary, what are they going to have with the free offer deal to get here?
This is so fun. It's productiveleaders.com/podcast. And this gives you that leader's blind spot and superpower assessment that I talked about. It takes about 3 minutes. It's based on the science of DISC, but it is not DISC. It takes 3 to 4 minutes if you're drinking, 3 minutes if you're not. So do it now while you're thinking about it. Make it a fun family game. Do it at your dinner table. Do it at a cocktail party. Do it at your business meeting. It's going to tell you your profile. And then it's going to send you the results. So the results are individually based and you're going to go, oh, that's why I'm making my wife crazy. Oh, that's why my assistant keeps asking me questions. Oh, that's why my controller wants a weekly meeting. And all of a sudden things are going to make sense. And your own superpowers, you're going to go, oh, I do that. I am amazing. And then you go, ooh, ouch. That's there. And then there's a bunch of free resources on how to grow your leadership profile, your leadership improvement plan for you, the people around you. It's a bunch of my 5-minute plans. It's some of my predictions for the next year. It's my 12-month planner that increases efficiency. In there is my productivity sheet. I do one of these every day of my life, every single day, on what you need to do to get the things done and make the right decisions.
Wow, definitely. Hit that QR code. Get all the – she says she brought a bunch of stuff to give away. So there it is. You have that QR code, free. Commander Mary Kelly, what is the best thing that you want to leave? You mentioned the word legacy earlier. And that you got a lot more runway. You got a lot more time to go. But what is the imprint that you want to leave behind as you work through your career?
So the word that I strive for was coined by George Kanahele, and it's a Hawaiian word. And it means, the word is kinaole, and it means do the right thing at the right time to the right person with the right spirit every time. And if I could just be remembered for doing the right thing, that would be great. Because as I said, you're not going to live long enough to make all the mistakes yourself. And I make mistakes every single day. I just try to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday. And some days I feel like all I'm doing is breaking even. And some days it's a loss, So we just have to keep trying, keep moving forward, keep trying to do the right thing.
Mary Kelly, great to have you on. Long overdue getting you on here, by the way. But we finally got it done.
We got it done. We get the things done. Thank you so much, Rich. It's such an honor and a pleasure seeing you.
All right. Again, you want to check out, learn more about her books, everything she's got going on, a wealth of information. Dr. Commander Mary Kelly, whatever you want to call her, she's there for you to help you out. Hey, you want to come back next week? We have another exciting conversation. We do this each and every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we're, again, on YouTube with a live chat party. You get to interact, ask questions, and get engaged here. And it's also on PPN, the Public Place Network. They're back out and streaming once again. They took a break. They relaunched 2.0, and we're spanning the globe. Seriously, 17 different countries now have Rock the Stage Show on Sunday nights appearing in the world. We're glad that you're a part of it. We're glad that you're here every Sunday night to join us. Come back next week as we will do it once again, another edition of Rock the Stage Show. Have a great week. We'll see you here again on Sunday night.